We've all experienced this tragedy, this new pandemic, cataclysm of events known as the coronavirus, ASAP COVID-19. It's already killed hundreds of millions of people, and if we're not careful, it could kill trillions.
You murdered trillions!
People don't know how to get to the gym. People are staying away from the gym so they don't get the coronavirus. People who have the coronavirus already are staying away from the gym so they don't infect others. What are you supposed to do? People are plateauing left and right. They're regressing. We don't know where to go. Where are we supposed to get our workouts in? What's going to happen to our gains? Well, that's where rain comes in to save the day. I got some exercises that you can do at home. If you don't have a gym, you're at serious risk for regressing. So I'm here to show you a few exercises you can do to avoid this catastrophe that the coronavirus is causing. So let's get straight into it, folks. So basically, you're going to want to treat the next week or a couple weeks or however long this is going to take until gyms open back up as a deload week. Now, the deload week, the goal is to maintain your muscle mass, work on some extra different neglected movement patterns you don't normally do. So that might be ab work, row work. But we want to be able to train as close to failure as possible and as specific as possible. And the one good thing I can see out of this is that from a deload week, one of the goals is to resensitize your body to the squat, bench, and deadlift stimulus, and not squat, benching, and deadlifting is going to do that goal. The problem is that we're not going to be able to increase our strength on those movements. But if we're able to get enough muscular stimulus, we might be able to maintain our strength. And then when we go back into the gym, since we have a higher sensitivity to the movements, we start performing the movements, and then our movement skill increases quicker than what it would have. You don't have to worry too much though, because when you take time off the gym, and even if you don't do workouts at home and you just take this time off, and then when you get back into the gym, when you lose that strength and that muscle, it'll come back pretty quickly. And there's actually a group of people who worked out for 6 weeks straight. They took 3 weeks off and then they trained for another 6 weeks. Obviously this isn't optimal and I don't recommend this at all, but the people were able to gain back the strength that they lost from the 3 weeks off, and they were able to continue to increase their strength after the whole 6 week of training before they got to that next 3 week block where they weren't working out. But if you take your gains seriously and you want to be able to get a decent stimulus at home, I got some great exercises for you. So starting with the upper body for pushing movements, so for your bench, your chest muscles, so we can do that just from regular push-ups. You don't need any equipment for them, and push-ups are pretty easy. Usually people can get like 40 to 60 reps, something like that. So what I'd recommend is actually doing a rest pause set. So you do your first set, do as many push-ups as you can until failure, and then you rest for about 10 to 15 seconds, and then you do another quarter of the amount of reps that you did for your initial set. You're going to do those sets of the quarter reps of what you did with, again, 10 to 15 seconds rest in between them, and you're going to do as many of those sets as possible until you get to failure again. Now, that would be considered, like the whole round of doing this would be considered one activation. So you could do 2 or 3 activations and get a really good pump on your chest. Another way to make push-ups harder is by elevating your feet and doing more of an incline push-up, and you might get a little bit more upper chest activation from that. And then if you have weights at home, or a significant other or somebody that you live with, you can ask them to sit on your back or put the weights on your back and make the push-ups a little bit harder so you don't have to do as many reps. And for shoulders, again, just elevate your feet even more, and you can do like a wall push-up where you're almost doing like a overhead press. Get a lot more front delt versus chest work. And if you want to train your side delts, lateral raises, get that neglected movement pattern in, you can do like a one arm, find something that's relatively heavy, like around 10-15 pounds, and just hang off the wall, do a one arm lateral raise and keep the tension on the arm. You don't want to go too low with those because then you're taking that tension off of your shoulder. So only bring it down to a certain point where you still feel that stress on your shoulder, and then go back up. For your back, if you can find any type of pull-up bar or anything you can do pull-ups on, then pull-ups are going to be great at training your back. But if you don't have anything like a pull-up bar, you can do inverted rows. If you have like a broomstick, you can put that between 2 beds or something. Just figure something out where you can do some sort of inverted row. To make them harder, you can elevate your feet, and then you can also do one arm inverted rows if it's still too easy. And when it comes to training your legs, this is where a lot of people get this wrong. You'll actually see videos out there of people recommending you just do bodyweight squats, like really high reps of bodyweight squats. And that's obviously not going to work, especially for somebody who's squatting 500 pounds plus. Powerlifters are not going to get enough muscular stimulus. They're going to be training nowhere near failure if they're just doing bodyweight squats. You might do like 100 reps and you're just going to be out of breath. But there are actually some exercises you can do that are pretty difficult with just your body weight to do. Basically, 2 legs have twice the power as 1. Actually more than that, because there's a little bit of balance issues when you go onto 1 leg. But I don't want balance to actually impede your ability to lift heavy weights. So the first exercise we have here for the quads is a pistol squat. And this is going to be as specific as we can actually get without doing a squat, because it's a squatting movement, it's just with 1 leg. So I wouldn't recommend just trying to balance these out if you've never done them before. So just grab onto the wall or the trim or something that's going to help you maintain your balance, but don't use it to lift you up unless you're not able to actually do the movement. But you don't want to use it, you want to be able to use just your legs to perform the squatting movement. And these are actually pretty hard, so I'd try to give them a shot, try them out, and if you can do them pretty easily while holding on for balance, try just taking that away. Or you can actually add a backpack and just fill it up with some heavy stuff and do pistol squats that way. Another way is to do a Bulgarian split squat. So you put your back leg up on the couch and you just do like a lunging movement. And these aren't going to be too difficult without weight. So you might want to try adding a backpack and just load up some heavy stuff into it. For glutes and hams, you can do single leg hip thrusts for glutes. And again, if you have anything you can weight these down with, you can add some weight to them, but they're pretty difficult on their own. For hamstrings, you've got a couple options. You can do a Nordic hamstring curl, which I don't really like these as much because it's kind of difficult. You might not have something that can hold your feet down. Unless you have somebody that lives with you, you can have them hold your feet down. But it's kind of hard to get under a lot of couches because they're too close to the floor. So it might be hard for you to get your feet under them. And then when you actually do them, you might be lifting the couch up with your body weight. So they're not my favorite. I do like, however, the sliding hamstring curls, where basically you just wear socks or you get something that's going to slide on a slippery floor and you do hamstring curls. And these are great because you're working both your hamstring and your glutes at the same time. And not everyone has access to bands or weights, but if you do have like a fairly heavy weight, like around 25 pounds or so, or you have a resistance band, you can do 1 leg Romanian deadlifts. And these are pretty cool because you're getting pretty specific to a deadlift, just again, like a 1 leg thing. Compound movements for at-home workouts would be like your pistol squats and your Romanian deadlifts and your push-ups. When it comes to training your abs, there are so many videos out there that will tell you a bunch of different ab workouts you can do at home. So I'm not even going to go over that. I'm just going to give you my favorite ab workout. And it's my favorite because I can actually train these to failure and I get really sore abs and hip flexors the next day. So I'm pretty sure they're working. Basically, you just find something again that's slippery and you go to a sliding floor and you bring your hands out and you do like an ab wheel rollout, except it's a sliding rollout. Pretty simple, really effective. Give these a shot if you want to get some ab work in, because that's again one of the neglected movement patterns. And if you want to train like some direct arm work for biceps, it's pretty much going to be the same thing as pull-ups. You can do chin-ups to get a little bit more bicep activation. If you can set up an inverted row, then you can do like a body weight curl type thing on that inverted row setup. For triceps, if you're able to do 1-arm push-ups, then you're probably going to get a pretty big stimulus onto your triceps just from that. Dips are actually pretty hard, and you can make them even harder if you elevate your feet and if you add some weight to your lat. And you can also do extensions, so you just lean your body over on something that is about hip height and you just do extensions. And lastly, we have our calves. Skip them.